Wow. My phone is very rude. They it just stopped. It you know what it did? It stopped my video so that it could tell me that it's going to update later on at like 3 a.m. And guess what that did? That made me forget my thought. I wish the world was more ADHD friendly. I just wish. Um, but as my mama said, if wishes were horses, poor men would ride. That's probably the most. She also said, "I love you more than hogs." What did she say? I love you more than a hog needs slap. Something like that. So very, like I said, very strong identity as a Texan, but also very strong identity as a Pakistani. It's interesting. Anyways, I all these things that I talk about, they're all related. They are, and I say that I like say that assertively because they are to me. And if they are to me, I know that I am not an illogical person, and I know that this at least is based in some logic. I could be wrong, but I'm not crazy. And I think that's what I like. I there's a method to all this madness. There is. Um, And I say that because I have trouble articulating my thoughts. I do. And I have trouble articulating my feelings. And this is a struggle that I've had for my whole life. And I am hesitant to say I have like aphasia. I think that's what it's called. Because I don't know what that really looks like. So I hesitate. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd be a little surprised because I feel like I just have trouble with it, but that's within a normal human capacity to have trouble with it. Not that I can't. And I think that's the important distinction. So I think I'm normal in that. Not that having aphasia makes you abnormal or even okay. I have a whole thing about this actually. So I have ADHD, and for a long time I had like this emotional baggage around like feeling different, feeling like I was not normal. And I never really realized, but that I had that baggage because I thought being abnormal made you inherently inferior in some way, or it made you, at the very least, like, because I also had this thought, like, even if I'm special, even if I am, just like too advanced for this world, which I always thought was a very nice fantasy that I could live in for a while, but I never really believed. Um, but even if that was true, it still was the case that I was causing problems for people by just existing. And that's a very painful realization to have. It's just like, it's because it's like, that's why people say, like, we just want to exist. It's not because, the people are telling them not to. Well, it's kind of like, yeah, it's not because like people are explicitly telling them not to exist. It's because they're exist, and we're all intelligent enough creatures that, uh, when our existence is inherently hurting others, especially when we're young, and it's not even hurting others. It's like bothering others, or like when we are abnormal, and the system is not designed to carry the weight of being abnormal, you'll cause problems. But it's not, and I want to say, when I say you will cause, I don't mean you are the cause of those problems, because you're not. And you're not to blame for those problems. And that's why I say it's abhorrent that, people will look at that and go, you're the problem. It's abhorrent. It's absurd, and I hate it. Genuinely. And I was always taught never to use that word hate. I was always taught it is the one, like, when you say hate, you must mean it. I genuinely hate this idea because when people look at that, I'm willing to bet that they don't think about it like this. Like, they're not thinking about it like, oh, this they're using the wrong tool for the job, and therefore the tool is at fault. Like, no, no. If that's nonsensical. When people are using the wrong tool for the job, that just means they're using the wrong tool. I like this idea. I forget who said it. Never attribute to malice what you can attribute to stupidity. And I think it's one step further. I think it's never attribute to malice what you can attribute to people, like, just being people. Like, not everyone is gonna think about things 80 steps of the way through, and unfair to expect people it's unfair to expect people to actively work against their biology. I think it's unfair to expect that as people. And obviously I'm talking to the people that know better and who are able to do that. I would consider myself one of them. It's unfair to expect people who don't know better to just know better, and we need to stop that. Like it is, and we have to meet them on their terms. This is what I was saying with like the universe. We are at a point. If you believe in what I'm saying, which I do, in order to talk to the universe, we have to do so much planning, so much work, even to just make our existence known, even to just have the right to exist as not even an equal, just as an entity in the eyes of this awareness. And who knows, maybe it already is aware of us. Like maybe we, and I actually did have this thought, maybe we are part of its thought. Maybe the whole, maybe this is just a simulate. I came up with a plausible reason that why anyone could believe in simulation theory. It's maybe because this whole, this awareness of the universe, maybe it is thinking, and maybe it's thinking about us. Because I also had this thought, if you could somehow collect every single bit of data about something and then recall all that, like document it and then recall that data, you would in essence be recreating that thing. Because what is data? It is energy. Information is necessarily energy. If you have a perfect copy of something in the form of data, then you have a perfect copy of that thing, full stop. And so, um, yeah, if a universe is thinking about us, I mean, it could be that we're not a perfect copy of whatever it's thinking about. Maybe we are you know, a facsimile of the real universe. I don't believe that. I'm just saying that's a possibility. I do believe that the universe is aware to some extent, but I'm not saying that we are part of its thinking. I'm sure someone is going to believe that. You go and do that. I don't. I just think that the universe itself could be aware. But anyways, my whole point with this is saying that, like, we have to do so much work, so much planning to even make our existence known. It's like we are so tiny, we are so humble, but that doesn't. Well, sorry, we are not humble. We're not as humans. No, but we are tiny and we are small. But that doesn't mean that we don't, because obviously I can say I want to exist because I don't want to die, and that's significant. A bacteria can't say that. A bacteria can, well, I suppose a bacteria can actually, in the language that it speaks. This goes back to, what is language? Language is just data transfer. What are emotions? Emotions are just a way for us to, like, get our meat bodies to, like, do things that will communicate that communicate data to others. Emotions are inherently a social thing. Also, they're inherently a safety thing. Emotion, like fear, anger, these are safety things. um yeah, like, and that does extend from the self to the social. Again, I'm not a sociologist or anything, this is just my thoughts. But yeah, emotions are inherently, like, because a computer doesn't have emotions because it doesn't need them. It doesn't need to get itself to do things. It can just do things because it's programmed to. But biology, it didn't. No one. I'm sorry to all the religious. I'm sure many religious people are watching this, but like, I don't believe that we were created. I don't, and most scientists don't either, because it's probably not true. And if you look at our biological systems, it just doesn't make sense for us to have been created. Now, it could be, and I actually have had this thought before, that if we do have a creator, it's it's not the creator like any of our Bibles or anything says. If we do have, and I do mean if, I don't know if we do, I don't think we do. I actually don't believe we have a creator. But if we did, I would say that it would have to be a scientist or someone that was just watching. Someone that, it's like they have an ant farm. That's what we would be. Alright, brother. You going? You going? Later. Something that's soon? You see my text? No. You're holding your phone. Well, because I'm recording. Bye. Hi, Jack. No, but anyways, what I'm saying is we have to do so much of this work to even make ourselves known. And then, it's so hilarious to me that people would then turn around and say, but we are the most important creatures on the planet. Like, we are special. Like, no, we're not. But it's okay to not be special. It's okay. We deserve to live and are also not special. Like, this dog right here, it's a dog. It's not, he's not going to change the world, but he changes my world. And that's enough. That is enough to justify his existence in my eyes. And so, yeah, like, I find it atrocious that some people, even extend this idea that some people should not exist. Like, I'm sure, okay, the reason this is connected, or the reason, oh, he started licking me. I don't know if that means that he likes it, or if he's stressed out. I think it means he likes it when he softly licks me in my hand. I don't know. Hi, Thor. Hi. I'm saying hi to the camera. I don't know why. Anyways, but yeah, some people. I'm gonna put my phone down so I can pet my dog. But some people extend this idea that, like, because there is no inherent use for people existing, some people should not exist. That's horrible. Because here's the thing: no one asked to be brought into this world. I didn't ask for it. You didn't ask for it. No one asked for it. And even if you think everyone, like, my dogs. Even if you think that everyone is ungrateful, or sorry, if you think that people that say that I didn't ask to be brought into this world, if you say that that's ungrateful, I would say that you've had a life that has taught you that life itself is something to want. It's something that you would want to do. But, people kill themselves. That's a thing. So, if you're gonna sit there and tell people that, like, are on that train that life is inherently worth living and you're just ungrateful, like, can you see how that doesn't work? It's like, it doesn't make sense. Sorry, my dogs are a little rough sometimes. I think it's because it's this one. Hey, pup. He has anxiety. And I'm trying not to be like a complacent parent. I don't want to do that. I think we have been for a long time, but I'm not about that anymore. This bunch of this stuff is just born from realizations I've been having in my life. I'm like trying to change things. I don't know. I also just wanted to make a video because my mom's asking me to do something. I don't want to do it. I'm a child at heart, but that's okay. Hopefully I can be a child and save the world. Also, save the world. I don't know what I don't know about save the world, but anyways, no, yeah, people will say, like, you have to conform. You have to work with the system because the system works. But that is an inherent contradiction, because if the system doesn't work for everyone, it doesn't work. In A Beautiful Mind, John Nash, he, and I mean, he was a real guy. It wasn't just this movie. I just don't know him besides this movie. But anyways, he talked about governing dynamics, and I think that's true. That like he said that, and it made things click in my head. There is a single mathematical equation that could describe the universe. I think that not I don't think that the universe is inherently deterministic. I think it's not. I don't think it is. But I do think that there's an equation that could account for that. We don't know how. We don't know. I mean, by account, I mean it could be that we literally, and this is our understanding right now. We literally cannot um know everything there is to know about something at any given point. We have to either like know this amount of information, and if we know this sort of information, that we are unable to know this other sort of information. It could be that that's because we this is the extent of my. I'm gonna be real. I don't know why. I can't really make a guess, a claim, even in conjecture as to why that is. um I haven't really thought about it. I've been busy thinking about other things. um and so but I guess that in a sense that kind of debunk. Well, it's interesting because I was gonna say it debunks my. I don't know if it debunks, but it makes the other idea I had that if you could have all the data of something, then you could recreate it. If you can't have all the data of something, then what are things? Because if things are not data, or therefore, or what I mean by that is things are information. It's a mass is energy on a fundamental level, and energy is necessarily information, and so mass is information. But if you can't know everything about an object all at once, then what is the medium in which it exists in? Does that make sense? Like, because I think about objects as, or like intelligence as existing. I guess that's like, the medium. Huh. Okay. I'm kind of talking out loud and realizing things as I go right now, but like, it could be that mass is just the medium in which information is carried, or intelligence is carried, and intelligence. Oh, it could be that like there is a fabricated universe of just concepts, but because intelligence is just information transfer, if you can huh if you can simulate all those concepts, maybe you could, maybe that is like, you're like, in the Fermi paradox, there are like certain barriers you have to cross. Maybe that's not like, I'm not saying this is part of the Fermi paradox. I'm saying this is a different type of thing, but it's similar to how there are barriers. Maybe that's not so much a barrier to like existence, but like there's like a secret society, like a cosmic secret. Yo, that's really cool, actually. It could, and I'm just saying this as like, because if if the universe is like a giant Rube Goldberg machine, then you can simulate the giant Rube Goldberg machine, and if you can simulate that, you can simulate anything. And if you can simulate anything, then you wouldn't necessarily want to simulate the universe, because you can already see the universe. So probably you'd simulate. I don't know. Like, I when I say simulation, I'm kind of like, I think I'm just like talking. I'm really tired now. I need to eat. Maybe I'll stop and go do that. But like, this thought I'm having is maybe there's like a, like a, because everyone in science, we have to adhere to standards, right? You can, and the standard can, why do we use a USB-C versus any other connection? It's just because we need something, and there's it's a it that something can take whatever form I mean, there's a better form and a worse form, you can argue that, but regardless of what that form is, we just need a standard of some sort. That standard can change, but everyone needs to adhere to it at any given moment. What if the same is true for intelligence? What if there's like an intergalactic committee of intelligent beings that, you know, they have all agreed, and by beings, I mean like, I don't know, intelligences could be anything. But anyways, they've all agreed to think in the same way so that they can interact and communicate with each other. It's like a thought standard. And like I'm sure I'm at that. I haven't even thought that, but that thought just came to me right now as I'm talking. That's interesting. And that could, man, I haven't even gotten to the fact that like when you really think about it, every single particle in the universe is necessarily interconnected with itself. Because as far as we know, or as far as I know, electromagnetic field lines extend infinitely throughout time and space, and so because that's true, every particle is necessarily interacting with every other particle all at once, and so. Oh man, I had a thought. I emailed my professor. I should probably reread that email. I linked this idea that the universe is on a fundamental level, a series of strings. I said, what if it's just one string, but like a ball of yarn, basically, and that it could be one explanation for quantum entanglement. Now, again, pure conjecture. None of it's math, not even math. Like it's just me talking. So it's if there's anyone watching that's like actually knows anything, I know this is not. This is just like almost useless. But like, if anyone is watching and actually cares, or actually like cares enough to believe this, I would love to see someone try and put some math behind this. I don't know how you do it. I just like, I think this is genuinely something that could be useful. And if it's not, it's not. And I'm just a weirdo on the internet, but I think it is. And so I'd love to see someone with, because math has always been my weakest suit. I fail. I almost failed DiffyQ. I had to retake that. And oh my god, don't even get me started on linear algebra. Now I understand linear algebra a lot better, but like, oh god, linear algebra sucks. I hate linear algebra, but I love it now because it's actually really cool. Math is so cool. I just wish I had time. Part of school that I really hated is I didn't get to learn things at my own pace, and it's like I want to learn these things. I do, but like it doesn't work for me, and that's the thing. Is like people will say if the system doesn't work for you, that's your fault, and it's like no, it's not my fault. It's your fault. It's in fact not my fault because I was born like this. And it's great that some people can be born one way and change. That's great. But A, that's in my opinion, it's not right to expect them to, and B, I don't know if I can. Like I feel like I've been trying my whole life, and all that's caused me to do is hate myself. And so I'm really done with it, man. I just want to be me because I know myself. And I know that I'm, you know, like not how do I say this? I am not someone that needs to pretend to be anyone else in order, or I guess I'm saying I shouldn't have to pretend to be someone I'm not in order to be taken seriously. And I hate that I have to do that. And I hate all these games that we have to play as a society. That's one thing that helped me actually really understand people, is that society is an act. And that's not an inherently negative thing. I mean, like I said, we all need standards. It all goes back, like I said, cyclical nature of the universe. These patterns can be applied everywhere, and it's okay to use that intuition as long as it's right. We all, art is not like, or science is not like art, because in art there's not always a single right answer. Well, there might be a single right answer, but we have nothing to check. There's no answer key. with science, there's always an answer key. It's what we can see. And so, and I guess in art, the answer key is, does it jive? Like, does it feel right to everyone? But the thing about art is not everyone feels the same way. So that's how it can be subjective. But with the universe doesn't really change. And if it does, then in my opinion, that just means that the nature of the universe is such that it changes, not that the universe in and of itself is changing, if that makes sense. Um, but anyways, so like I said, it all goes back to the cyclical nature of the universe. We can use these patterns and we can apply them in different ways. And I forgot what I was saying, but before this, but something about a big ball of yarn. I think I moved past that though. I don't remember. I hate, dude. I hate having it. Oh yeah, it's. I hate. You know, but part part of the reason I say like the system doesn't work for me, because you know what really worked for me is if I had someone like an assistant that could help bounce ideas. You know, like I could bounce ideas with someone to, because part of my thing is I have trouble, like there is a lot of potential here, but I have trouble bringing it out. When I have someone to help bring it out, that's when I thrive best. But what I learned in this life growing up is that people will not care. You are wrong to want someone to care about you like that. You are wrong to want to be important enough to have an assistant, because you're not important enough. And it's like, that's all well and good if you really aren't important. But, I think I've just made two 30-minute videos talking about the cyclical nature of the universe. I think I'm not important yet. I mean, I'm just a dude. But also, I talk about, we don't need a justification for existing. And that's a horrible thing to need. It's a horrible thing to feel this need to justify your own existence. You shouldn't have to. And it's okay if you have that need. I did. And I had to find that answer. And if you do have that need, you will have to find that answer. And it could be that everyone has that need. I'm not sure. But it is kind of a horrible need when you really think about it, because no one needs a reason to live. Because no one was given a choice to live. We were all brought in here against our will. So it's like, to demand that we, like, are simultaneously grateful for the life we have while just nobly enduring and like hating ourselves. I don't know, man. It's like you want us to sit down, shut up, and also talk. It's like, give it's okay that the system is neurotypical, like it's it's okay that the way the system works is all based around neurotypical people. That's okay. It's okay that we live in a like white hetero whatever like ruled nation, because and it has to be okay because that's how it is. It has to be okay for us to be able to talk about that, because if it's okay for that, anyways, it's okay for us to be living in that as long as we, other people have a system that also works for us. Like, it doesn't have to be the dominant system, but it just needs to be there. And it's not there right now. And I think a lot of people, right now we're living in a time of heavy division. I think it's not because people are crazy. It's because people are scared, and the people who know better aren't doing anything to stop it. They aren't. They're seeing that this side is talking about one thing using this. It goes back to data transfer. It's the same. We're using words. Okay, I think of it like this. With a virus, the way that it gains access to our cells, it has receptors on the ends of it. So it doesn't like go and talk to the cell. That's not what it does. It's a virus. It can't do that. What it does is it interacts with the cell And if the cell, it has if it has the right receptor, the cell's gonna let it in, and it's not because of any reason. That's just what the cell does. I think of words very much the same way. Our words are just carriers of information, of emotion. And so to neurotypical people, or even just to people with similar upbringings, I think, even among neurotypical people, there's a lot of variation, especially among culture. Excuse me. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of variation in like how that knowledge is going to be taken, because like think about it this way: it can be the same receptor, a virus can have the same receptor, but if the cells are different, or if the receptors on the same cells are different even slightly, that virus is not going to get in. That's how we think about neurodivergent people like me, um, people who are like, those same words have a different meaning to us. What, Jack's whining at me. Come here, pup. What's the matter, pup, huh? What's the matter, huh? Hi, pup. Hi, Jack. Who's a good boy? Who's a good puppy? Hi, pup. I don't know what I was talking about. I need food. Hi, pup. Oh, I said the word, the F word. But they're not too excited. All right, I'm gonna go now, but I'll make another video, um, talking about more stuff. Bye.